everybody. Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 337. This is the last official Ginger Runner Live episode of 2020. Next week is a Gingermas Awards show that we like to wrap up the end of every year. I guess we've been doing that now for 7 years. So this is actually our last GRL. Which is like...
Of 2020.
Of 2020. We'll be back in 2021. But we do take a break, a bit of a hiatus. So this is pretty exciting. And tonight's episode is going to be all about you, the viewers, the crew, the people who this entire year have been out there doing amazing things. This is going to be another viewer mail and inspiration episode. Mine and Kim's favorite episodes to do. We do them every couple of months. I want to say every couple of months. I usually say every couple of weeks, but it's been a handful of weeks since we did our last one. So tonight we're going to be sharing your stories and celebrating you and your accomplishments in 2020. We have a number of stories that were submitted over the last few weeks and in the last 48 hours. We'll try to get through as many as we can today, but sit back, relax, everyone. Welcome to Ginger Runner Live 337, viewer mail and inspiration. The show begins now.
Ginger Runner.
Yay! Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ginger Runner Live.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone, Bun, for coming. Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 337. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy Mondays to spend a little bit of it with us. This is the last Ginger Runner Live episode of 2020. We're sad to say it, but we'll be back in 2021, of course. We do take a bit of a hiatus over the course of the holidays here. And we do have one more GRL, but it is our Gingermas Awards show, and that'll be next week.
Yes.
Gingermas is coming up this coming weekend.
Crazy.
It's crazy that we're already at this point. If you would like to participate in Gingermas this weekend, it's very easy to do. Just head on over to gingermas.com. You can register there. We almost have 1,000 people registered for I actually haven't looked today. We might have more than that.
I haven't looked today yet.
But it's free, and it is our opportunity to give back to the community. So we have tons of prizes, thousands of dollars worth of prizes from all sorts of brands and stuff. We're going to be giving away a ton of stuff next week. But tonight, our focus is on you and celebrating you and your accomplishments over the last year. So we do what we normally do with the viewer mail and inspiration episode. We asked for you to submit your stories. We have a bunch lined up today. Pretty excited about it. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hi, everyone. Kim Tashima Newberry here, as always. I have a puppy in my right hand because, of course, it's the start of GRL, and Gus is like, oh, hey, there's squirrels out there, and I need them now.
Yep. Gus decided now.
He decided
he was
now.
Going to turn it up to 11.
Of course, we are live. If you have questions or comments, you can just pop them in the chat room, or if you have a quick story to share with us, you can also put that in the chat.
Before we dive into the stories, because this is sort of the last GRL of the year, we, of course, just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for watching and supporting throughout this year. We are so thankful for this incredible community that joins us every Monday for live shows. We're incredibly thankful for our Patreon crew and community for joining us every single day. We do live streams every day called Daily Brew. We talk about running, training, all sorts of fun stuff. Yesterday, our Daily Brew episode, our live stream, we actually had a couple of crew members who run a Christmas tree farm. We got to pick their brains about what goes into that, how it works, what happens right now and in the off season. It was awesome.
I am strangely fascinated with farms in general, but more specifically Christmas tree farms.
Yeah.
So it was a real treat.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we'd like to thank some individuals at the top of every show. Of course, our Patreon crew. Thank you so much. If you'd like to join the crew, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. For as little as $1 a month, you get some really cool perks on the back end. Our Discord server is up and running, an amazing community there. Daily live streams talking about running gear, just fun stuff. It's great. One individual in particular at that top tier, we'd like to thank at the top of every episode, and that is Brian Sands. We've had him as a guest on the show before. This year, he ran his first 100-miler. It was a DIY 100-miler. It was a great episode. It was a few episodes back. You can go check out that episode of GRL. But big shout out to Brian. Thank you for the support, Brian. And Brian is also submitting a number of really cool prizes for Gingermas as well for Patreon crew members, which is just wonderfully generous. It is awesome to have him on board. And finally, before we get into everything, the last couple of weeks, and this is the final week of it, but we have been sponsored by Inside Tracker, it's been a cool thing. one, it's allowed us to do this. It's allowed us to continue to do Ginger Runner Live, and it's really supported us because we're a small business, and it's been just wonderful to have them on board. But they helped us with getting our blood tested, which is what they do. That's what they do on their website and everything like that. They provide you access to blood tests, and then they analyze it. They have 44 biomarkers and stuff like that.
You can find out your inner age.
Find out your inner age, which we did, and my inner age.
One of us is younger than our outer age.
Our outer age, one of us is older. Our inner age, one of us is much younger than the other. But I just want to quickly mention how thankful I am for this product, because the last few weeks I got my results back from my blood test, and it really did bring up some red flags that I think all athletes need to look at your blood. It brought up some red flags that I was aware of, but maybe not aware as to what extent I needed to actually get things looked at. So I have had doctor's appointments now, and like I'm doing my due diligence of getting on top of my health, which is something that I have neglected for years. So if anything, it was a nice wake-up call, and I'm very appreciative of that. There is a link in the description. You can use it if you want. There's a coupon code that gives you $200 off their ultimate package. You're welcome to use it. You can bypass it, do whatever. But I am sold. So I'm very, very thankful. I say let's dive into this. Am I forgetting anything at the top of the show?
I don't think so. It feels like we are, because usually we have a guest to welcome in.
Yeah, no guest today. We're talking about you, the viewers, and everything like that. We always love doing these episodes.
Yeah, I think we're ready. I do think we should. I think we should cheers to making it through 2020. It's been a funky year for everyone all over the globe.
So
and just before we went live, I was just saying to Ethan, I was like, it's pretty incredible that we've made it all the way through 2020. We've been able to stay on schedule with our weekly shows, our daily live streams. So I feel like the last GRL of the year is always a little bittersweet. Like it's nice because we can kind of break for a couple of weeks for Christmas, but it's also kind of just like, oh man, I'm gonna miss this for a couple, the next couple of Mondays. So
it is. Kim recognized this before the show, and it didn't really dawn on me until she said it. But doing a weekly live show where you bring on guests and you like to celebrate accomplishments, it's difficult to do when there isn't a racing season. Yes, there have been races that have gone on and stuff like that, but we really wanted to focus not on races this year and on personal accomplishments from athletes of all abilities and levels, but around the world as well. And I think we did a pretty dang good job. We had guests on talking about social issues and things that have been going on in the sport for a long time. We've talked a lot about mental health. We've talked a lot about inspiration and how to motivate. And we've talked to coaches. We've talked to people who have gone out and done amazing things, from FKTs to personal FKTs to DIY stuff. So we've managed to do a full year of shows, despite the fact
that races just aren't
not
there
happening
for the majority of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I say let's do this.
I say let's do this.
Dive in.
We've got our beer. Poured. We're ready to go.
We cheersed.
So episode 337 is now officially underway. So we're going to start reading some of the stories that were submitted to us from our viewers, and we're very, very excited to do this. Some of them are longer than others, but regardless, I'm going to do my best to read them as best as possible, as I always do. So the first one comes to us from Doran DeWolf, who I believe actually this is a two-parter.
Okay.
The first part was submitted after our last viewer mail episode, so we did not get a chance to read this, but I do believe that there was a follow-up to it. So this is going to be a two-parter.
I love a follow-up story.
Always good to have, here's the problem, and then here's what happened. So this is a great place to start. Dear Ginger Runner, dear Kim, dear Ginger Runner community. My name is Doran. I'm a father of two, 5 and a half, and 4. And I've only started running 5 years ago. I live in Switzerland, and because of the time difference, I have not been able to participate in a live show so far. As a child, I was often teased and still lack a lot of confidence because of that. In gymnastics, I was always chosen last, and when it came to running, I was unmotivated and lazy, and instead of running, I walked and always arrived way behind everyone else. My daughter was born in January of 2015. This was a big turning point in my life. We moved home, and where we live now are a lot of woodlands, so when my wife would be working, I would take our daughter in a pram and take her on long walks. These walks would become more frequent, and soon I started to go on walks with when my wife was at home with our daughter. In the beginning, it was walks, then it became fast walks, and soon I started running. I set myself small goals, 1 kilometer without stopping, 2 kilometers without stopping. Then hills started coming into play, and soon I was running 10-kilometer runs on a weekly basis. In April of 2017, I ran my first event. It was a 10K run, which I finished in just under an hour. This hat whet my appetite, and I decided that I wanted to make another dream come true of running a marathon before I turned 40. In 2018, I started my training. A colleague of mine and I decided to train together and go to Valencia to run the marathon over there. Then I was made redundant, and I decided to run a marathon at home in Switzerland, in Lucerne. I'm probably mispronouncing that, of course. I did not have the best training, but what I did know at the time, and on a very cold, rainy, snowy day, let me just rephrase this. I did not have the best training, but what I did know at the time, and on a very cold, rainy, snowy, did I mention cold Sunday, in October morning, I towed the line for my first marathon. In the changing room, I got to talk with someone, and he recommended me to follow a pacer, so I decided to follow his advice. This went really well for 28 kilometers, approximately 17 and a half miles. But then I felt sore, and I left the pacing group. I ran and fast walked the last 14K and finished my first marathon with my wife and kids present in 4:47:59.
Dang.
And achieving my goal of running a marathon before my 40th birthday. I never had any intentions of running more marathons, but as my 40th birthday approached, I decided that I would like to run again. I wanted to return to Lucerne for revenge, but my wife then had to inform me that she had planned a surprise party on that day for my 40th birthday. I'd done all the training, so I ran a marathon alone on the Thursday after the marathon in Lucerne. I chose a 10K round course, which I could run as a figure eight, and parked my car so that I could use it as an aid station every 10K. I ran the marathon in a new personal best of 4:37:30. Unfortunately, this was not an official course, and I stopped my watch every time I took aid, so I decided in my 40th year that I'd run 2 official marathons, and I registered for the marathon in Zurich and Lucerne for 2020. I was fit and in really good shape, and then Corona decided to take matters into its own hands. First, the marathon in Zurich got postponed and later canceled, but I was in the best shape I'd ever been in and decided to run another marathon alone. Started off well, but after 31K, I got cramps from overdoing it on the salt intake, and I finished this attempt in 4:36:21, but again, not an official marathon. Around the same time, I came across Ginger Runner live shows, and I started watching them chronologically and back-to-back whilst in lockdown and during home office. Currently, I've watched all episodes until 240 and above 300 in the space of the past 6 months. That is a lot of content.
That's impressive.
Well done. I was amazed by what people did in your shows and how far human beings can push themselves. 2020 so far is one virtual run after another. At the moment of writing this, I am at 2,443 kilometers, or 1,518 miles year to date. That is 640 kilometers, or 397 miles, more than I did in the whole of 2019. And I've climbed close to 31,000 meters, or 101,700 feet of vert. That's more than double of what I did in 2019. September was my most active running month ever, surpassing 300K, or 190 miles, in running alone. A few weeks ago, I started running daily to improve my VO2 max and overall speed. Then I won an entry to a race that took place in September, and I set some new personal bests in the 5K and 10K distance. Last Monday, I won an entry to a 6-hour endurance event in October. I wanted to run a marathon on this day, but after watching your shows and listening to your viewers and reading the chats of the GR Live community, I've set myself a new goal in aiming for at least 54K, 34 miles. On top of that, I'm also going to participate in Rock and Hike Zurich in 2021. It's a 100-kilometer hike within 24 hours around the Lake of Zurich. Although it's not a race, I do want to set a good time, and I'm intending to hike run most of the way. Maybe some GR crew would like to keep me company. Anyways, I wanted to say a big thank you for all the help that you and your participants of the community have helped give me. Without realizing it, you and your community have given a 41-year-old, since yesterday, lazy man. Yeah, this was in October. Gave a 41-year-old lazy man new confidence that the sky, more confidence in this.
That the sky, or in this case.
Or in this case, a marathon is not the limit. Thank you. I'm going to see how far I can push myself over the coming year, and in doing so, I'm also motivating my kids to be more active than ever as I was as a child. Running for me is freedom, gives me confidence, enjoying nature, sharing camaraderie, and also doing something good for yourself. Thank you, Ginger Runner and the Ginger Runner crew. P.S. I'll join Patreon soon, but I don't know if I have the live events suitable for my time zone. Don't worry. You can always watch the archives as always. But yeah, this is amazing.
I love that. And Diego in the chat room says, equally impressed with the marathon and the amount of GRL episodes you watched.
Totally agree. The binge watching of GRL episodes, that is a lot of GRL episodes. I love it. I absolutely love it. And there is a bit of a follow-up too. So Doran obviously has already managed to accumulate a number of kilometers and meters of vert this year, just blowing his own records out of the water, which is amazing. So here's the follow-up.
I'm excited to hear the conclusion of if maybe Doran became an ultra marathoner.
Dear Ethan, dear Kim, dear GR crew, I am so proud of myself right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the event last Sunday, the 18th of October, 2020. I started a bit fast, but soon I settled into a nice and steady pace of approximately 5:30 per kilometer. After 3 hours, I realized I could actually finish the marathon under 4 hours, thus this gave me an extra push, and I finished the marathon in 3:54:35, beating my old time by over 40 minutes.
Wow.
At this point, the engine was empty as I neglected my nutrition slightly over the last kilometers, but as the event still had over 2 hours left, I kept going and I finished the event with 54K just as I set for myself. So now I'm an ultra runner as well.
Yay!
What helped me a lot was several things. I tapered properly for the first time. I gave myself a leg massage the evening before. I had a plan for nutrition, to which I stuck to almost to the letter. If anyone wants, they can reach out and I can share the spreadsheet. I prepared my gear and nutrition beforehand, and I knew what I was going to wear days ahead. And I knew from you and the GR crew that the only limitation that we have is in our heads. Yes. So once again, a big thank you to you both and to the whole GR crew, and hopefully I'll get a chance to thank you all in person in the future. We are so proud of you, Doran. Congratulations on not only PRing the marathon by over 40 minutes, but being an ultra runner and joining the ultra runner ranks in a sanctioned event scenario in Switzerland. Amazing.
Very, very cool. Very cool.
So happy to hear that.
I like a good follow-up story.
The more follow-up stories we get, the more I'm like, this is what's great. It's like, here's the not foreshadowing, but the cliffhanger. And then you got to wait weeks. You got to be patient, and you get the results later. Next one comes to us from Travis. Excuse me. I gotta drink more beer.
And this one is also from just after our last viewer mail
Correct.
show.
Let me just make sure. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Ethan, Kim, and Gus. First, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for reading my letter on the last viewer mail episode, which we did. We read Travis's about 2 viewer mails ago. I was suffering from a low patch in the training for my first 100K run, and hearing my story on GRL was what I needed times 3,000 to get the stoke going again. As I had written about previously, for my 40th birthday this year, I had set a goal to run a 100K race, which was twice the distance I had ever gone before. After COVID struck, I spent more time taking care of my family and my own mental state than putting in the miles to train, and had zero confidence in myself when it came to finishing. Funny thing was, after the race was canceled, I wanted it more. I gave myself a cause instead of a finish line and vowed to make 2020 better for as many people as I could. I set up a fundraiser for youthline.ca, a nonprofit website and toll-free hotline for all of Ontario's 2S LGBTQ+ youth, with a goal of raising awareness and hopefully $1,000 as well. I set up a Facebook page and publicly proclaimed my goal and set deadlines of updating everyone at least every Monday to keep myself accountable. And off I went. Training was hard to fit into the new COVID schedule. I was called back to work, but on strange hours, I found myself having to make time really early in the morning or most so really late at night to get as many miles in as possible, trying so hard to stick as close to my training plan as possible. Knowing that on race day, the closer I was to plan, the easier I could trust in the work I had done to get me through. Some days were definitely better than others. All the while, something was really brewing on my Facebook page. I had an incredibly positive and passionate group growing and following along. I surpassed my $1,000 goal in about 3 weeks and quietly thought that, hey, $2,000 would be really awesome. Also, as far as awareness to the helpline, I was seeing about around 250 individual viewers a week, which was even more special. I promised myself at the beginning of this that even if I didn't raise $1 and I fell on my face 10 feet from the start line, so long as someone discovered that they had helped and got the support they needed, that was worth 100 finisher medals right there. Race day was an awesome experience. However, I am now very aware as to why RDs don't run their own races. The stress of those final days of planning and the fact that the page and charity drive really took off in the last few days leading up to the start line kind of made me feel like I'd already run a marathon before I even started my ultra. At the very last minute, I had to change courses, so I mapped something local in 3 legs. The first and third legs were in town on pavement because my local trails would not allow anyone in them in the dark. And my 6 a.m. start assured that I'd be starting and finishing with a headlamp on, eliminating the only trails I had access to for almost 60% of the run. No matter, it was too late to turn back, so I finished plans with my small social circle of family and a couple of close friends, and on October 24th, I took off running in a cloud of wet snow and into the day. The first leg was awesome, cruise control all the way. Throughout the day, my crew was posting on the Facebook page for some live coverage for anyone wanted to follow along, and the response was heartwarming. People really wanted to cheer me on, and it still gets me kind of choked up thinking about it. Leg 2, 40 kilometers, was on trails. The fun part was that it had rained really hard the night before, and the trails were 3 inches of mud with a layer of leaves on top of them. I spent more time surfing than running, and when I could get a good push in, I was carrying about 5 pounds of mud on each foot. I kept pushing, experiencing some serious highs and lows, but never feeling like I was done or out. I exited the trails as the sun went down and headed home where my crew and pacers were waiting for me to start leg 3. Leg 3 sucked. My legs were dead. I could walk, but couldn't get more than a quick shuffle out of them. Thankfully, my pacers kept my spirits up and slogged out almost 6-hour walk to the finish to get the job done. I finished what I set out to do all those months ago in 19 hours, 22 minutes, and 44 seconds, and I'm so deeply proud of the accomplishment. The competitive part of me wants to figure out what went wrong, but for me, those are thoughts for another race. I ran 100 kilometers. I raised over $2,300 and had over 8,000 people see my charity drive, bringing awareness to help to Youthline and those who are trying to help. Over a week later, I'm still getting people reaching out to me with their stories or thanks or wanting to still donate to the charity. This has become more than just a race, and making a difference for people has been the best win I could ask for, and the best middle finger to 2020 I could possibly give. I have 1,000 thank yous I'm still giving out, but I most want to give a big thank you to GRL and the GR community for being a part of this truly life-changing journey. I'm never going to forget this. Travis, we are so proud of you. Like, this is amazing. You've done so much good for people. This is beautiful.
And we have Travis in the chat room right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well.
That's awesome.
But I think that, what Travis did was kind of part of the theme of 2020 is like taking, what your plan A was and switching it around to your plan B or C or D. And then in Travis's case, turning around and making it something that can benefit people who need it as well.
Thinking beyond themselves. Like Travis, what an honorable thing to do. Set your own goal, but really make it not about your accomplishments, but about what you can do for others. And that's what the GR crew is all about, man. We're really, really stoked to see what you did, and we're stoked for you and all the good that you put out there. It's another reason why we love viewer mail and inspiration episodes, is because we get to recognize people who, like Travis, are doing incredible things for other members of the community and just showing how big this is. It goes so far beyond, a run, a race, a distance, a speed, anything like that. It's truly cool. What's been going on in the chat room?
Just everyone saying hello. We have a couple people that are joining either for the first time or making it back, like Sylvia mentions. Made it to the live show again. Super awesome.
Love having you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or anything like that, Kim is, of course, keep an eye on the chat room, and we'll answer questions and things like that as we go.
I think I have Gus settled down now. I apologize if you saw me doing things over here. I was sneakily trying to give Gus some treats to calm him down, to forget about the squirrel outside.
A little behind the scenes is anytime we do a live show where we don't have a guest, or when we have a live show with a guest, we're able to, I can stay here, I can listen to the guests, I can ask the questions while Kim wrangles Gus probably 60%
You can also flip
of
the
time.
camera view. You can switch it to the guest view only, so I can go do whatever.
If Gus is freaking out over there, I'm like, cut to guest view. So you just see the guest, and then Kim's like, she'll come back and sit. Cut back to the wide. So we don't get that, unfortunately, when it's just us two.
Marslow has a very important question. Ethan, when did you get a haircut?
I don't know.
I've been cutting Ethan's hair for this entire pandemic. I'm not saying it's great, but it's not
awful.
not great.
Look at this. This is
Hey, whoa.
No, not the haircut. My actual hair is just terrible right now. I'm not wearing a hat to hide
But
anything.
we actually haven't cut your hair in a while.
It's been Probably
Couple
2
months.
Yeah, probably a couple months.
It's been a while.
Great question, though. Hard hitting.
Travis says, get a Gus cam. Yeah, we should. Except it'd be
should.
all over. And then you would see how messy our office is.
We have talked about that. Actually having a place where Gus doesn't really have a place that he likes to lay down in this room. But we've talked about setting up a little camera around a space that he could call his own and just being able to cut to it. The next viewer mail comes to us from previous Ginger Runner Live guest, has been a guest on the show a number of times. Great storyteller, old school trail runner, Andy Jones Wilkins. I wanted to read this one earlier in the episode because it's short. And it reminded me, like, maybe we should look at bringing Andy Jones Wilkins on in 2021 in one of the earlier episodes of the year because he's still dealing with this and it's still this ongoing thing, but it's truly inspiring.
And a lot of folks have said that the AJW episode was one of their favorite episodes. Like, that's always what we hear when we ask, what's your favorite episodes? That one generally is right up there in the mix with the top handful.
Absolutely. So Andy says, after 2 hip resurfacing surgeries and an up and down 2 years of running, I pretty much thought my successful running days were over. I think we talked about this with Andy when he was on the show last. This is something, he's been dealing with his hips for years. I hadn't run a 100-miler since 2017 and honestly thought that my favorite distance was a thing of the past. Then, after a summer of consistent training and focus, I ran the Yeti 100-miler on my birthday, September 25th, and managed to finish under 20 hours.
So fast.
For me, that was a triumph. Yours, AJW. AJW, for us, that is also considered a triumph. Like,
that's incredible.
That's incredible. I imagine for you, that was a bigger finish than probably some of your earlier 100-mile finishes. Just being able to come back after multiple years of not being able to run 100 miles and getting it done.
I always think it's really incredible to see athletes or whomever come back after something like hip resurfacing, because I think we all count on our legs and our hips and our knees to like fuel this crazy passion that we have for this sport. Just like a little quick side story, my sister-in-law, her dad was big into Ironman, lots of Ironman competitions and marathons, and he ended up having to get, I think, both of his hips resurfaced as well. So he ended up training, did 100% of his training in the pool for his Ironman after he had his hip resurfacing done.
Like swimming or like
swimming and water. Yeah, aqua jogging.
I hate it just sounds so like
aqua jogging.
Look at me, I'm aqua jogging.
It's actually really hard.
Yeah, no,
it's really hard. But then like he went on to finish more Ironman races after that. So I think it's very cool to see these types of stories, to talk about these types of stories, because let's be honest, we're not all just like cruising on 100% fit and healthy bodies. Like that's just very far from the truth for probably the majority of us.
Yeah. And this year alone has been such a roller coaster for so many in regard, I mean, physical bodies alone, like being able to get training in with lockdown schedules and distances from home across the world has just been a challenge, let alone just like mental injuries. And seeing Alexi Pappas talk about her dealings today in the video in the New York Times was perfect timing, kind of considering that, you know, mental health and things like that, especially this year, why aren't we treating them like injuries and being able to come back from them and stuff like that? So lots of really great dialogue. And again, AJW, well freaking done.
Yeah.
Well freaking done, my friend. Next viewer mail comes to us from Brian Fagundes. Longtime crew member, has actually, actually not longtime crew member. He's kind of a recent crew member as far as joining us on Patreon and stuff like that. But he's been a hugely active member of our Discord server. And Brian is posting photos every day about wildlife or nature, and it's been awesome.
Brian posts Brian's nature photo of the day every single day and does a little like blip about whatever it is he's posting about, but it's been so valuable to us and to the GR crew, and like we're just thankful to have you a part of the crew.
So Brian Fagundes says, this year provided an unexpected blessing to focus on my mental and physical health, as we were just talking about. After deciding to take the dive and join the Patreon crew, it was the best decision I could have ever made. Thanks to all of you who are the best remote support crew I could ever ask for. I headed out to the Trinity Alps wilderness of Northern California in November to attempt 3 FKTs in 3 days on the Canyon Creek Lakes Trail, 4 Lakes Loop Trail, and Emerald and Sapphire Lakes Trail. Although not what I had been originally training for this year due to fires and oncoming snow systems, I was over the moon excited for this. Well, crew, it happened. I went 3 for 3 on my FKT adventure. 62 miles, 3 days, 13,500 plus feet of vert, 8 alpine lakes, 1 epic trail, belly slide, lifetime of lovely memories. It was such a blast. Until next time, be kind, smile deeply, and run freely. Brian Fagundes, a.k.a. Rock Lobster.
Fagundes.
And he actually posted a link to some photos and trip descriptions. You can go to fastestknowntime.com/athlete/Brian Fagundes. And it's awesome. Brian, we were so happy to have you as a member of the crew. You've provided such incredible insight and just beauty to the Discord server and to the community. It's just awesome to see that you're also out there crushing trails and dropping FKTs like it's nobody's biz.
Very, very cool.
Absolutely love it.
Just really quick from the chat room, Darling Runner PT says, had ankle surgery 4 months ago for a complete ligament rupture. Was able to run a 10-mile trail run this weekend. Was not sure if I would be able to run again. So grateful to just be walking.
That's amazing.
And Darling Runner PT goes on to say, this community helped keep me going.
I absolutely love that. I'm sorry you had to have ankle surgery, but it sounds like you are getting back to it, that's exactly what we hope to hear.
YouTube is flagging all of these comments that you do not want to see the lobster emoji.
Yeah, it's so funny. YouTube is automatically flagging some of the live comments.
We're having to approve every one of the comments that has a lobster emoji.
Basically saying, yay, Brian Fagundes. And then it will just flag it because there's lobster emojis.
Held for review.
Who'd have thought that lobster emojis would set YouTube's censor bot off? The next one coming to us from John Lauritsen, who is the Christmas tree farmer, part of the team that runs the Christmas tree farm that we talked to yesterday on Daily Brew, which is pretty fun.
Him and his wife, Amanda. Mm-hmm. If you missed yesterday's Daily Brew, I highly recommend going to watch it.
A lot of behind the scenes of what goes into Christmas trees, growing them, selling them.
I could not stop thinking about it last night. I kept thinking, oh man, like what if a Christmas tree farm comes on the market for sale?
We're getting it.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't care if we have to put this house of, we don't own this house.
We don't, but we'll sell it.
That's how we're going to do it. That's how. So this next email comes to us from John. Ethan, Kim, Gus, and crew. 2020 has been this amazing dumpster fire with awesomeness mixed in. Yes, there were hard moments, times of uncertainty, and massive anxiety. But that was all just a blessing in disguise. Overall, I found myself running again with no plan or goal except for to run for myself. The only race I focused on was my racing mind, and running helped ease that every day. Running helped reduce that anxiety, get me moving, and enjoying nature. I found new places to run, like around the farm where I live, and that sparked the idea of hosting races here in the future. I'm so excited to explore that idea. I also decided to join a community of other runners. Honestly, I signed up just to learn more about running, but instead found a whole community. Sure, we might never have met in person yet, but the Ginger Runner crew, and more specifically the Daily Brew crew, have become a very special and important part of 2020 for me. Often, I'm lucky enough to catch part of Daily Brew when on lunch break at work. The rest of the time, I just listen on my way to or from work. To the crew, you are all an amazing group of people, and I have enjoyed every single moment. I look forward to the day when I stay up late enough to catch trivia night. And to Ethan, Kim, and Gus, and the whole crew, thank you for an amazing 2020. You rock. John's outside.
Is he?
That's his username. He signs off as John's outside. John is outside. John's outside.
Okay. Right.
Don't let him in.
Okay.
COVID. John, it is just a privilege to have you as a member of the crew, and we loved talking to you yesterday on Daily Brew. And what John brings up is just, for those maybe not in the know, there is this incredible community that has really blossomed here in the last year. And Kim and I, we pinch ourselves every single day because in a year that's been riddled with a lot of anguish, for ourselves, for our family, for friends, and for so many members of this community, it's been an absolute shit show. Mm-hmm. But there's been this silver lining that has been the bringing together of people from around the world, technically, through technology in a way that we really didn't foresee happening, and it really brought people together from all sorts of backgrounds and stuff in a new and innovative way that has allowed multiple people to support one another. So it's been this really incredible support system. So to the GR crew, we're just so thankful to have you. Support one another and support us and everything. It's just been so cool. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are a member of the crew. We're honored that you're a part of it. So thank you.
And it's just, there might be people out there that are like, oh, this seems really cool. But for me personally, when I see like a group that seems like super cohesive and I worry like, will I fit in or will it be welcoming or is it too late to jump into this thing? I just have to say that the people that are in the GR crew that are on the Discord server are some of the most welcoming, caring, kind people. I feel like I'm tooting our own horn, but I'm tooting the crew's horn.
It's not us. It's the crew.
Over on Discord, they've taken it upon themselves to do a weekly trivia night where everybody jumps in on the Zoom call. There's now a book club, which is super cool. And there's all these other things. So it's very, very, very cool.
Absolutely love the crew. This next email comes to us from Drew. Kim and Ethan, hey, just wanted to send a note to you guys on what has been my 2020. As this year, in many ways, has been a bit of a dumpster fire. I love the term. I found myself falling back in love with running. As things started to shut down back in spring, I noticed I was beginning to grow roots in my couch. I decided to take advantage of the free time and ease back into running. Brief history. I ran cross country in high school, ran recreationally throughout college, got serious and ran the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C. in 2003. Started having kids in 2004, and that's when running took a backseat. Back to 2020, I've always been more motivated if there is a date on the calendar I'm shooting for. Enter virtual races. A few 5Ks turned into a couple of 10Ks, turned into an October half marathon. I've easily run more miles this year than in the previous 10 combined.
Wow.
I found your review videos as I got deeper into running world. Besides the great reviews and humor, seeing the bottle of Pliny the Elder in the background made me say, these are my kind of people. From there, it's been the movies, GRL, Daily Brew, and the GR crew, all of it. I love the community and the way technology can bring people together in such unique ways. At this point, I'm looking ahead to 2021 and planning my next marathon just 18 years after the first one. Can't wait to see what doors running opens for me next and can genuinely say that the GR crew community has played a big role in that. This year has been one for the history books, I'm sure, but at least one chapter in my 2020 yearbook will be all about how I've fallen back in love with running and the people that share that passion. No matter what else is happening in this crazy world, I've got running shoes, there's a road right outside that can take me anywhere. Thanks to you guys and the GR crew for all the motivation and inspiration. Cheers, Drew Slate. I love that.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing, Drew.
I can't wait, Drew, to follow along. This might be a bit of a cliffhanger one because, Drew, we'd love to see you pursue your goals here. And if you end up getting the marathon done in 2021, tell us about it, my friend. Keep us posted. I think I ran my first marathon in 2003. That was the same year I ran my first one, the Portland Marathon. It might have been 2002, but it was right there. Basically ancient history. And it took me a long time to get back to that distance. I feel like that first one was like, okay, I did it. I never have to do it again. And eventually you get to the point where like, can I do it again? So I can't wait to get a follow-up email from you, Drew, all about that success. Love it.
There are people saying that people are Googling the meaning of the lobster emoji.
The meaning of it?
And Darling Runner PT says, I just had to Google what the deal was with the lobster emoji. Would have never guessed.
Oh, is there an alternative meaning of it? Apparently YouTube knows the I don't know the alternative meaning. I'm not super hip to that. But I'd be super curious if YouTube is like, oh, we got to flag the lobster emoji. That was obviously used. Rock Lobster is his nickname. John's outside.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about this on Daily Brew tomorrow.
Apparently we'll talk about it on Daily Brew tomorrow. No doubt about it.
And Ingen in the chat room says, I feel old and overwhelmed and confused whenever I try to use Discord. Which little subgroup do you recommend I try to follow? Once you get in there and kind of have a peek around and kind of see what's up, I promise you it is not confusing.
Yeah.
When we first set it up, I pushed back a little bit because I felt like I was like, I'm too old to learn a new platform.
Yeah.
But it's super easy and it's wonderful.
So
and also happy to help you just reach out.
Our Discord server is incredibly active. It's great. A lot of people have likened it to Slack. So if you're familiar with Slack, if you use that with your like through your job or something, it's a lot like that. But it has some cool technical sides to it, like you can do audio chats, video chats, stuff like that. But that is a perk of the GR crew, which we're really excited about. It's been awesome. Next email comes to us from Alec Wong. Dear Ethan and Kim, as I'm tapering for my second Hellgate 100K attempt and my first Hellgate finish, I had a lot of time and opportunity for thoughts to enter through my energetic brain. Ethan, you popped into my head many times, and I pondered on your influence in my life. You played a large part, not only in my running life, but also my personal and professional life. Let's start with the running aspects. This is in no particular order. You got me my first and most awesome treadmill, the Proform Boston Marathon Edition, which I entered and won the Ginger Miss back in 2016. Ginger Miss is just around the corner. I believe Alex still has this treadmill. I would hope that he does. It sounds like an awesome one. I have all the head wraps that you've designed. I even have a Follow Me to Beer shirt. You had me eat donuts and run for GRGR. You introduced me to all sorts of people via GRL. Those runners and coaches are very influential in my training, just to name just a few. I met you in person for the first time in Washington, D.C. for the Where Dreams Go to Die tour. I also met Gary Robbins. Rob Krar was on GRL. I discovered his camp. I met Rob at his camp. I even had footage running with him on GRGR that year. I do remember incorporating that footage because Rob Krar was in it. I was like, this is great. I discovered Sally McRae and met her at Western States one year. Your poster, Discover Your Own Adventure. This is a big one. It's hanging in my office. He included a picture. And this is a personal thing with Alec. He says, I left my old job and started my own business after you made your move out of LA in pursuit of a new life in Seattle. This poster reminds me to seek out my own path. And you gave me the courage for me to pursue my own dream. The mantra at the time was, if Ethan can do it, why can't I? I left a relatively comfortable position that I ended up dreading as an associate at a chiropractic clinic for 14 plus years and a chiropractor for 11 plus years with DC United Major League Soccer team. Wow. I don't get to be Kimo75 in the chat room as often or as frequent as I used to prior to opening my own practice. Life has been a lot more hectic since I started my own practice. And it's not only because I'm busy with work, I'm running and racing so much more. My body isn't exhausted from working on the soccer players Saturday night and waking up the Sunday mornings to run a long race. I no longer need to finish a marathon Sunday morning and follow with running to the stadium afterwards and work. I now get to drive a few hours to the mountains and run in a forest. You've given me the freedom to play on the trails and not be stuck on running on pavement. Yes, I do have to go to bed early on Mondays because of my training and working schedule. And he goes, let's go back to the treadmill and 2020 and you for a moment. You saved me this year. GRGR 2020 saved me. My brain, mind was in a terrible place. I was in the deepest, darkest place, and GRGR 2020 gave me the reason, excuse to get out of the darkness. It gave me something to focus on. After day one, I strategized to go after the vert amount of time, and we had a similar...
vert challenge.
I skipped a line. I decided to go after the vert challenge. I had logged approximately 13 miles and a few thousand feet of vert. I realized I wasn't going to win the distance category because Devin Yanko logged 30 miles in the same amount of time, and we had similar vert gain. Devin crushed the first couple of days of GRGR this year. I believe I spent over 20 plus hours that week on my treadmill. On Sunday alone, I spent approximately 7 hours to get as much vert as possible. There were moments I had the treadmill at 20% incline and grinding at 3 miles per hour speed. But you gave me the platform to do something else other than diving deep into my dark space. The Ginger Miss treadmill gave me the opportunity to exercise while being isolated from the pandemic. For that alone, I can't thank you enough. Since GRGR 2020, I've logged over 300,000 feet of gain, a majority on the treadmill. I have the misfortune of participating in the Hellgate 100K race. I applied and was selected to participate, so I believe I qualified to run Hellgate because of the vert that I accumulated on the treadmill. These are some very dark times that we are all experiencing. I'm trying to make the best of it, and you have inspired, provided, induced, enabled me to be my best. I want to do well at Hellgate so that I can make you proud. Last year at Hellgate, I dropped out. My plan at Hellgate is to finish this year. Last year's Hellgate took place on December 14th. This year's Hellgate is on December 12th, separated by 364 days. My birthday is on December 13th. Last year's Hellgate was on the first day of my 44th year on this planet. This year is going to be my last day of my 44th year. I plan to finish this year finishing Hellgate. I plan to leave behind my demons. I hate to quote scripture, but Psalm 23:4 comes to mind. though I walk through the valley of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. You rod and staff comfort me. Ethan, you have been my rod and staff. I cannot express in words the gratitude I have for you and Kim. Even though you are on the other coast, your presence is strong in my world. Thank you for all that you do. Keep up the great job. And Alec posted a bunch of photos in the email, and they're great photos. I'm looking through them, like going down memory lane
like
here.
us taking pictures with him at Western States.
Yeah, Western States. A bunch of GR medals. He's done incredibly well
some
at
donut
every year.
pics.
Yeah, he's chomping down some donuts. Alec, I'll talk to you purposefully and specifically. You are an amazing human, and I remember these conversations with Alec, who's been a long time viewer of Ginger Runner Live and viewers on this channel, or videos on this channel. And I remember early on when I decided to go full time with Ginger Runner, Kim and I decided to move back to Seattle and really pursue Ginger Runner here and making this our full time job. And I remember Alec in that process being like, "Hey, do you think I could do something like that?" And seeing now that Alec has a successful business, he's pursuing his fitness dreams and goals, and he's doing so incredibly well. Alec, I hope you realize that's you, man. That we appreciate your incredibly kind words. I look at this and go, man, this is all Alec. Like maybe we played a small role in that just like being here, by being voices or having content and stuff like that. But this is your strength and your ability to push through and do incredible things. And every human has that. And Alec, you tapped into it. And it is so amazing to see. I cannot wait to hear about you crushing Hellgate. You've got this. I mean, despite this year being an absolute shit show, you have proven multiple times that you are capable. Your GR vert was like, it had Kim and I just insane. Like, how did he do this? I remember going through all of his results going, what? So Alec, you are an amazing human. Please follow up with your victory at Hellgate. We would
love a follow-up email to this story. And apparently there's some onions being chopped in the chat room. There are some tears being shed.
I had to read this a couple times before reading it live on air for the same reason. I think I get not made fun of, but I think
I also think it's Kimosabi that I'll usually calls out like Ethan's gonna cry.
It is always Alec
before Kim.
It is always Alec in the chat room that's like, when is Ethan gonna cry? And it's always a viewer mail episode. And Alec, yours was the one that did it, so I had to read it a couple times beforehand. But regardless, Alec is proof and testament to the ability that we all have as unique human beings to push through these demons and this darkness and pursue our own passions and things that make us happy.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. 2 more. This one comes to us from Andrew. Hello, Ethan and Kim. This year was going to be the year I ran my first 50 miler and attempt a BQ time after coming close last year. Of course, neither of those races happened. Instead, I had to refocus my efforts and did a great job until June. With Daily Brew in the community and Ethan's video doing a 100-mile week, I decided to take on that 100-mile week challenge and made it. I kept up my training while balancing having 2 kids under 4. Well done. Being a husband and my job as an elementary and middle school principal.
Wow.
Well done. Times 1,000.
Yeah.
Then I didn't. For 2 months, I barely logged double-digit mileage each week. I quit journaling about my running and started sleeping instead of getting in those pre-dawn runs. I also quit watching Daily Brew. Then I started to slowly get my mojo back. Started training, watching the show more, and got back to journaling and planning my training. I'm proud to say I recently ran a 42-minute, 5-second 10K and tied, virtually of course, my old roommate who is a phenomenal runner and friend. It even impressed my wife who isn't a runner. I'm back to planning my 2021 and some solo adventures on the trails and time trials in case racing isn't back for a while still. I have Daily Brew and this community to thank for always being positive and inclusive, and for Ethan and Kim for all you two do. Also, thanks to David and Megan Roach and Addie Dog. Their episodes are amazing, and I wish I was 1/10 as energetic as them. Let's keep pushing and supporting each other in 2021. Thanks, Andrew.
Marie Claude nails it. She goes, talk about a full plate. Yeah, like the kids and all that kind of stuff, and then also trying to be a principal during this time specifically.
Amazing.
Yeah, wow.
Absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Keep us posted as well with that pursuit, because we like one thing that we love about Daily Brew, which is our daily live stream, is that it is accessible at all times. So even if you can't tune in live, you can always go back and watch. And they're just, they're fun conversations. And sometimes we get into like heavy running stuff or gear stuff, but a lot of times it's just kind of like chit chatting about maybe our training or things that we're doing. And that's sometimes enough. Like people just need to just watch or listen and kind of get a little bit of inspiration or whatever. But we can't wait to see what you do in 2021. The final email that I'll be reading tonight is from a longtime crew member. Absolutely amazing support for us and for the crew, and has just been here rock solid for so many people, and provides entertainment and fun and jokes and hilarity.
And I honestly think out of the COVID days, would probably be like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I feel like we're very similar.
Yeah.
Except she runs much more than I do.
She's an incredible runner. We've run into her on the trails actually once during the pandemic.
Supporting
everyone was masked up
out there to kind of like do a socially distanced support to another crew member.
So this one comes to us from Angela Kuzier. Hi, Kim and Ethan. Slipping in at the last minute here as I've been thinking about this wackadoodle year that we've all had. As most everyone in the crew knows, I managed to complete my first 100-miler this year. Even though Cascade Crest was obviously canceled, doing the virtual hamster back in August. I said that sentence completely wrong. That was where the period was. As most of the crew knows, I managed to complete my first 100-miler this year, even though Cascade Crest was obviously canceled by doing the virtual hamster back in August.
Back in August. How's that beer doing over there?
It's gone.
Okay.
And that explains it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This beer is also called Goodbye Punctuation.
Yep.
That is accurate. I wanted to, once again, shout out this incredible group of folks that I've become so close with in such a short period of time for making that weekend feel like a real race, even though I was running, mostly, alone around my neighborhood for 30-plus hours. I also wanted to share another triumph of this year. Back in 2015, I signed up to do the 2015 Miles in 2015 challenge and was very close to completing the mileage when I was diagnosed with breast cancer in November and my world went to shit. So many friends and family stepped in and ran those last miles for me when I couldn't manage to run them for myself. Much like this crew has been there for each other this year, that support and generosity made me feel not so alone in a time of great anxiety and stress. I have joined the Run the Year challenge on a team every year since then, but never managed to complete it on my own until this year. I'm currently sitting at 355 miles run for the year and have upped the ante to 2,500 for good measure.
Dang.
In a year full of shit on a shingle, I am feeling grateful for my own good health and the healing my body, mind, and soul have gone through in the last 5 years. I just want to let all of the crew know that
You got this.
I just want to let all of the crew that has become chosen family that you've been a large part of inspiring me to do better than what I thought my best could be, and that if you are traveling a dark road, I would like to be someone you can count on to simply sit with you in both your pain and your triumph when you make it back to the light. Thank you so much for this beautiful community you two have fostered into existence. Much love and gratitude, Angela. And
that
there's
makes
the
me.
tears.
I was like, that makes
There they
me
are.
tear up.
There they are. Angela, you've been an amazing member of this community, and it's been awesome to have you. And I want each and every one of you to know that you have all been amazing members of this community, even if you've just lurked and watched from time to time. You don't have to be a Patreon crew member. You don't have to, don't worry about that. If you've just been a part of this channel in any capacity over the last year, we cannot thank you enough, because it just viewing a video or dropping a comment here and there or just sitting
or dropping a bahaha
or a bahaha, you've become a part of something that it's really, really special. This year has been truly special. As dark as it has been filled with more light than we anticipated. So Angela, we thank you for being such an incredible part of this community and for inspiring others to be great members of this community and being so welcoming and so open. We hate that this is the last GRL of the year, but we also look forward to 2021. I always look at New Year's as sort of a new beginning and a new fresh pair of legs and eyes and ears, and there's sort of this renewance. And I know a lot of people hate on the, New Year's don't always mean new. Like, why not make the changes now? It's right now. I think we could all just use a new year, and I think 2021 is going to be that. And if it's not, that's okay, because we've got this community here ready to support you. I mean, the last sentence there, Angela, is just extremely powerful. So I really appreciate Angela's words, and I appreciate our community more than they will ever know, more than you will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to wrap up our episode 337. We are going to move into our after show. If you would like to join us for our after show, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner for as little as $1 a month. It supports us, and you get access to some of that. This has been an amazing year through an absolute awful year. We're trying to find the silver lining in everything right now. And honestly, this community is it. This community is it.
Yep.
For us, there's one bit of silver, and it's you guys. That's it. So, why each other? I like you a lot.
No, it's just them.
Okay.
I like you too.
Okay, good.
I like you
I'm
too.
glad we like each other. I need a haircut. If you have not registered yet for Gingermas, please head over to gingermas.com. It's free. We'd love to have you.
We got some fun stuff to give away.
Yeah.
Last thing, GR Crew Member of the Week.
There it is. At the end of every Ginger Runner Live episode, we like to recognize members of the GR Crew who go above and beyond and really shine and show us what's truly capable or possible. This year, this week, both Kim and I just wanted to take that second to recognize that it's the crew. The crew is the member of the community that needs to be recognized. You being here, you being a part of this community, you are the GR Crew members of the year. I dropped the Gear of the Year video today. You can go check it out if you want to check out some gear. But if you want to know who the crew member of the year was,
it's all of you.
It's all of you.
It's all of you.
I know that's like cheesy and that's dumb.
No, it's just like we want to celebrate and thank each and every one of you. Like I don't care if you run 10 100 milers in a year, or if your biggest accomplishment of this pandemic is just getting outside to go for a walk. We value you all. You're all very special to us. You have, I know we just kind of said this, you are our silver lining. And I think probably you are a lot of each other's silver linings as well this year. So thank you. Thank you, GR Crew.
We're going to wrap up GRL number 337, move right into our after show. Again, don't forget, next week is going to be all about awards. We're going to celebrate the end of the year. We'll probably be drinking plenty of adult beverages, a lot of eggnog. Who knows? But Gingermas is this weekend. The email will be going out to all participants later this week, as well as Patreon posts and how you can get additional bonus points and stuff like that across social media. We'd love to have you be a part of Gingermas this year. And we are very much looking forward to 2021. A lot of exciting things happening here that we can't wait to share with all of you. So in the meantime, we hope you enjoyed tonight's episode, enjoyed stories from the crew, and maybe you look back on 2020 with a little bit of hope, despite it being an absolute, what I like to call a diaper fire.
Gross.
Yeah. Regardless, we hope that you are getting out there and training as hard as you can, virtually racing harder and partying the hardest. We know we are. We'll see you guys next week for the final show of the year. Good night.
Thanks all.
Ginger Run.